Have you ever noticed them? The ones who don't rush to fill the silence. You ask them a question, maybe even a pointed one, and they simply consider. There is no scramble for an alibi, no flood of justification, just a quiet stillness. And in that stillness, others project their own stories. They see arrogance, they see coldness, emotional distance, a wall built to keep people out. But maybe you felt it yourself, that it isn't a wall, it's a foundation. This isn't about being guarded or secretive. It's something much rarer. It's the trait of a person who has spent so much time with their own thoughts that the outside world's noise has become secondary. They aren't looking for a jury to approve their verdict because the trial already happened, quietly, inside their own mind. They've already asked the hard questions, interrogated their own motives, and reached a conclusion. What is there left to say? Explaining would feel like a performance, a translation of a language that others weren't meant to understand anyway. It would be a betrayal of the clarity they fought so hard to find. Most people live their lives looking for mirrors. They need to see their reflection in the eyes of others to know who they are. They adjust their posture, their words, their beliefs based on the feedback they receive. Their sense of self is a conversation, a negotiation. But for these few, the mirror is internal. Their identity is not a debate. It is a settled fact. So when they stand in silence, it's not because they are judging you. It's because they have already judged themselves. They know their own truth, so they feel no compulsion to sell it to you. This profound self-trust is often mistaken for superiority, but it's not about looking down on anyone. It's about having no need to look outside of oneself for permission to be. They simply are. And that quiet confidence is magnetic, isn't it? It's unsettling. It makes people lean in, wanting to know the secret. They want to breach the calm and see what's inside. They mistake the silence for a puzzle that needs solving. But they don't realize that the piece they see is not the whole story. This deep internal clarity, this unwavering trust in your own mind, it comes at a price. A fortress built to keep the noise out doesn't just protect, it also isolates. It creates an echo chamber of one. And the world they build inside that fortress, so solid and real to them, is a world no one else can ever truly visit. They are the sole citizen of their own reality. And that kind of sovereignty, that absolute self-reliance, has a shadow, a cost that is paid in silence, where no one else can see, a cost that most people never ever comprehend. You feel it, don't you? That weight. Since the last time we spoke, you started to notice it more. The invisible armor you wear, the silence, and you've started to wonder about the cost of that armor. Let's talk about that cost, because it's heavier than you've allowed yourself to admit. It begins with the constant, low hum of being misunderstood. Someone forms an opinion of you, that you're aloof, uninterested, maybe even arrogant, and you hear it. You see it in their eyes. Every instinct inside you has the correct words, the perfect explanation to dissolve their misconception, but you swallow them. You let the misunderstanding hang in the air, choosing the bitter taste of being misjudged over the exhaustion of trying to explain a soul you're not even sure they have the capacity to comprehend. You choose your peace. But peace, you're learning, can feel a lot like loneliness. This leads to a quiet, self-imposed isolation. You can be in a room full of people, even people you love, and feel a profound sense of being behind glass. They see a reflection, a silhouette, but the depth, the intricate, sometimes chaotic world you carry inside, that remains yours alone.
You've curated a life where your inner world is a sanctuary, but a sanctuary no one else can enter eventually becomes a prison. You hold entire oceans of thought and feeling within you, while those around you are only ever allowed to see the shore. And then there are the relationships, the ones that frayed or faded or fractured under the weight of your silence. You've chosen to say nothing when an explanation might have saved everything. Not out of malice, not out of indifference, but because the effort of translating the complexity of your heart into words that could so easily be dismissed felt impossible, a betrayal of the feeling itself. You've let people walk away believing a version of you that isn't true, because the battle to be seen correctly felt more damaging than the wound of their departure. This isn't weakness.
This is a form of self-protection so fierce, it's willing to sacrifice connection to preserve the self. It's the calculated decision of someone who is acutely, painfully aware of how words can be twisted, used as weapons, or simply ignored. Your silence is your shield. But here is the quiet truth that settles in the dark after everyone else is gone. The final piece of this burden. It's the slow, dawning acceptance that you were never meant to be fully understood by everyone. Your depth isn't a flaw to be fixed. Your complexity isn't a puzzle to be solved for another's satisfaction. The real journey wasn't about finding someone who could understand you. It was about reaching the point where you no longer needed them to. Accepting that some will only ever know the surface is not defeat. It is the final, quiet definition of emotional maturity. And in that acceptance, there is a strange, calm strength, a peace that is finally, truly your own.